like a lot of aces, and like a lot of people in general, when I was younger, I struggled a lot with the fear of loneliness. I had the sort of the usual sense that like maybe I wasn't worth connecting with, like I didn't know how connection worked. I think everyone struggles with that. But layered on top of that, I had this story that I had been told by society that if I wasn't going to connect with people sexually, then my connections weren't ever really going to count. That if I wasn't going to connect with people sexually, I wasn't ever going to be able to offer them the things that they really needed, so I was never going to be deserving of deep, full intimacy with another human. When I was first really struggling with my ace identity, and I would tell people about it, they would try to comfort me by saying, no, it's okay, some people are just alone forever. And that was not what I wanted to hear. I didn't want to be alone forever. I had and still have this like very strong desire to form deep, meaningful, emotional connections with people. I say I've got like an intense intimacy drive. And it was scary to look out in the world and not really see models of how that happened. There were stories of really deep friendships. There were stories of people who sort of would live their lives together, but there weren't stories of how you built that. The way that all of my sexual friends, like, there was a process, there was a script. They would date people, they would hook up with people, and then it would lead into this form of relationship that had a path towards marriage, towards family, towards other queerer ways of kind of having a partner that was a committed, consistent part of your life. And I didn't know what that looked like for me when I was younger. Knowing what that looked like, not having that script, was terrifying. It really created this fear in me and this drive in me to understand what connection looked if it didn't follow that pattern. And so I, like a lot of other aces, set out to explore that. I set out to write my own script. I kind of, while my friends had been handed this sheet of paper that had a bunch of rules about how to count. I identify as aromantic, and that word didn't exist then. But I realized that unlike a lot of aces, I wasn't drawn to kind of dating and the emotions of dating, but I was drawn to having really close relationships with people. And so I started looking around and figuring out where in my life those relationships happened. Like, I had people I was close to, even if those relationships weren't yet really committed. And I realized that in my case, I was close to the people who I did things I was really passionate about. There's a lot you can do by intentionally building community that serves that need for intimacy the way that it does, at least for me as a romantic person, the way that it seems to for romantic people through dating. Scary. It's really scary for me at first to sit down with my friends and talk about a relationship and talk about how it makes me feel and ask them how it made them feel. Like, some people became uncomfortable with that. I think I've been from them and be like, hey, I've really been thinking you're starting to play a really important role in my life, and like, if you're open to it, I'd love to sit down and have a conversation about that. Just like name the role we're playing in one another's life and say if we want to express intention about found was that when I thought the non-ace people in my life, a form of intimacy that they wanted, what I discovered is that I was exploring a form of intimacy that they found to be deeply liberating. And then when intimacy that I was experimenting with as an ace, that was really new for them. That was really fun for them. It wasn't doing the same thing as their romantic or sexual relationships, but it was doing a different, complementary, really exciting thing. Walks with people where we would share just like, what are we doing together? What are we doing, and what is that adding to our lives? And then, given that we're playing this in others' lives, like, are there things we want to be committed about? Are there ways of continuing to show up? Circumstantial things that are happening to promises that we're going to keep and talk about if they have to change? Are there things that we're not doing that we want to explore doing together? And I found that having those conversations fundamentally transformed how my relationships worked. My relationships became a lot more stable. When they changed, we talked about how they were changing. When I had to move across the country, I could go to the people who were close to my life and say, like, look, I want to be in a long-term relationship with you. Certainty that there were not just people who cared about me, but that we've been able to express intention and make commitments about how we were going to show up in one another's lives. That was transformational. That was the thing that I think more than anything else helped to remove that fear of loneliness from me. Because it also helped me to understand how, as an ace person, I have immense to offer people, not just other ace people in my life. When it comes to, I have like, not only am I, as I'm sure you all are, like people who are fully worthy of connection, but we are these sort of pioneers who are exploring new ways of connection that other people can find liberating. We're not lacking connection that people need. And so I'd love to leave you with that thought, with the idea that as aces, it's not just that we're worthy of connection. It's not just that it's a thing that we can create in our lives. We are sort of on this path where we're filling that blank sheet of paper. We're inventing new forms of intimacy that can not only make the fear of loneliness go away for us, it can help to change how the fear of loneliness works for all of our friends and for everyone else in the world. Thanks.